Know what that was. Welcome in, everybody. We are back and better than ever with another episode of the Disney Movie Review. I can't even say it, but I'm going to try to say it. The Disney Movie Review. Dan and I are back, and we have a very special guest with us tonight. We have the one, the only Kyle from Eye to Eye Disney. What's up, pal?
What's up, guys? Thank y'all so much for having me back. I must have done something right if you want to have me back.
No, we couldn't get anybody.
Don't lie to me.
Distinguished fans of Star Wars from all over the world, but unfortunately, none of them showed up.
That's fine. Just because y'all downplay the magnificence that is Attack of the Clones, don't do it. I know we're not here to talk about Attack of the Clones, but just...
No, we're going to see what you think of this one for sure. But great to have everybody here. Disney Movie Review, of course, is every Sunday where Dan and we pick a movie literally out of the box from a Disney Plus box. That's our Disney Plus box.
Disney Plus box with a Tyrion Lannister Funko Pop.
Yes. I mean, does it get any better than that?
I know.
And we pick a movie. We watch it during the week. We come home. We get ready for our stream. We review that movie. And sometimes we have very special guests like you're seeing down there. So before we get started, just a few things real fast so we can do some quick mousekeeping. We have, of course, Dean over at The Live Place. Check him out, everybody, theliveplace.com. Dean is your TV guide of live streamers. Whether you're looking for Disney or even non-Disney content, there's other things than just Disney on The Live Place. And there are live streamers every day of the week. And if you're not sure what day, that's the place to go, theliveplace.com. Check him out. Dean is a great supporter of this community, and it's our way to kind of give back to him. We have two partner channels. One of them is right over here. It is the one and only Disney Dan. And, of course, we also have Steve's World. If our mods could put their links in the chats, I would appreciate it. Check both of them out. They are fantastic. And there's their names. Look. And, of course, membership. Members, thank you to all of our members. I don't know why, but you guys have been really joining, and it's been fantastic. Thank you so much, members. You go the extra step. We're happy to have everybody here, but the members go that extra step with their generosity and their loyalty, and I really, really appreciate that. Melissa does as well. So thank you to our members. And, gentlemen, before we get started on this, what I I call this a very interesting movie before we get started. Let me say hi to a few people in the chat, and then we're going to jump in with both feet. Alex Kennett, one of our members, is here. Joshua DeLuca. Disney Dan. Must be first time. Timothy Rainwaters is here. Melissa Mouse Talk. I've heard of her before. Alex the Filmmaker. Kirsty Clark, another member, is here. Addiction Mouse. Tim Pruitt. G. Wilson. Courtney Cook. Wow, we got some people in here. Let's see who else is. Emily LSU, Mom, another member. Emily, good to see you. Timothy Rainwaters. I don't know if I said hi, Timothy. I'm saying it again, just in case. Timothy just had a birthday, and somebody else has a birthday coming up right there. The guy above you, Kyle.
Happy early birthday.
Left or right?
Somewhere up there.
Yep. Dan's got a birthday coming up, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure does. He's going to be 22 again. Matt Simba 2, welcome in. Tim Pruitt. I think we are up to date. Mike's Adventures is here. And we're up to date. Awesome. All right, guys. Revenge of the Sith. So this is the third installment of the prequels that kind of finishes the story of Anakin to Darth Vader. It kind of wraps a little bow into what, as a child, I always wondered how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. Well, these three prequels are supposed to tell us that story. And they did. They really did. And this movie here is the final installment that kind of puts a bow on it and finalizes it all together. I said that 6 times. But we're going to kind of break this movie down. So for me, I'll just tell you right off the bat. I'm not going to give you my letter grade. But for me, of the 3 prequels, this one is my favorite. Okay? I'm just going to say that up front. I don't know what that means for letter grade. You'll have to find out, but it is the one I like the most of the 3.
This for me is what I call the watchable prequel.
Dan, we're gonna fight.
See, this is the reason. This is the reason why I wanted Kyle to join us, because I know how much Kyle loves the prequels. I know Kyle's a massive fan of the prequels. I have differences of opinion. But
how dare you have a difference of opinion to me?
Because every comment I make about this film that we're going to talk about that made dig Attack of the Clones, I'm only doing it because you're here and because it's mostly true.
Can I ask this? Maybe
Yes.
this will help start us off here. Would you view Revenge of the Sith better if Attack of the Clones didn't lead up to it? Would that change your view on it?
No.
No?
No. For me, I would have made sort of episode 1, episode 2, and then episode 3 become episode 2. Like, I don't think we needed Phantom Menace and then just completely redo the whole of episode 2 and then have episode 3 as it is. Because I actually, like Walt, this is my favorite out of the prequel trilogy. And I think it is, it tells a more compelling story, I think, compared to the other two, in my opinion, which I think we'll get into. But I think this film stands on its own. I could easily just watch this film and not watch episodes 1 and 2, and then, right, prequel's done, move on to 4, 5, and 6.
Right. Well, go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
What I will allow is that it is the best of the prequels. What I will not allow is any disparaging of the rest of the prequels here.
You got to the wrong show then.
I won't bring them up anymore. I said my piece when it comes to those 3. Shiny Prisma, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So let's get started with this. So the first movie, he's young. He's a child. He's probably, how old is he in that? 10?
10 years old. Because he's too old to study to become a Jedi.
Right. And that's true. And technically, I guess that's kind of true. And because we're going to talk about that, because when we see some of the Padawans in this movie, they are definitely younger than 8. I can promise you that. Yeah. So for what that's worth, I at least that is somewhat consistent. Right. The one thing I'll say is this movie is all these 3 of these movies are direct sequels to the other. They don't go too far into the future. 1 goes very far into number 2, but 2 to 3 I don't think is very, very far at all.
I think,
if I'm not mistaken.
I think what's good is there is that gap between episodes 2 and 3, which I think Disney's really done well with bringing that Clone Wars TV show. I don't know if you guys have seen the TV show, people in the chat, but for me, the Clone Wars TV show is absolutely fantastic and definitely builds that Clone Wars world building, universe building between episodes 2 and 3. And so there is that small gap, but we get so much content through the TV show. And that I actually think helps episode 3 even more.
Yes, I completely agree. It's a series. The Clone Wars series starts off really dull to me, but the way it finishes, especially with this last season that came out on Disney Plus,
spoilers,
just so good. And I mean, it just enriches episode 3 so much more. And any commentary that's completely untrue that you might have tonight, Dan, about any of the prequels, I think gets saved by the fact that the Clone Wars leads up to this and kind of it makes this movie so much better because now you know actually what happened between that gap. And I almost wish we had a Clone Wars. I know there was a Clone Wars movie based off that series, but I wish we had a live action one showing some of these battles and some of these planets.
Yeah. And I would say to people, if you haven't seen the Clone Wars show, yes, it is animated, but it is still a very, very good show, especially the latter half of the show. It is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Katrina Scolpini, welcome in.
Hey.
Jonathan Chong, welcome in. Courtney Cook, welcome in. Faith Hope and Disney, welcome in. Courtney makes a very good point. I just want to get off topic for a second. Sad news. Alex Trebek.
I forgot about that. Very sad.
He was 80, he's the Jeopardy host. He's been hosting Jeopardy for 37 years. Alex Trebek died from cancer today. That's very sad. I'm a big fan of Alex Trebek. Always have been. He's one of my favorite game show hosts, probably just behind Pat Sajak. He's God rest his soul. He is gone, and he will definitely be missed. Paul Engel, welcome in as well, pal. Good to see you. All right, so we have been seeing from the first movie to the second movie to the third movie the fall. I'm going to call it the fall of Anakin Skywalker. We are starting to see it. We really see it in Clones a lot with some of the things he has done, but now we are getting to the culmination of that turn for him in this movie. Now, it's gradual at first. when the movie first starts, if I'm not mistaken. I got to admit, Dan, I didn't rewatch the movie. I've seen it so many times, but I didn't have time this week to rewatch it. But we've seen it enough that the first half of it. Let me ask you this, and Kyle, I'll ask you. The first part of this movie, the first act. How necessary is this first act? And see, I find it to be slow.
And you're talking about from the actual movie starting until we get to the Senate scene where we can do spoilers for this movie, I'm sure.
It's out 2006. If you haven't seen this movie by now,
be careful. Always sensitive about that on my channel, especially because I've ruined some people's lives before. And so we're talking about from movie opens until they have rescued the Chancellor. Is what you're saying is too slow, right?
Well, yeah, but even the part. Okay, so let's get to that. Yes, exactly. I mean, the whole part with Anakin and Obi-Wan in the spaceships and their banter back and forth as they're trying to get on the ship is. I don't know. I didn't. It doesn't. Look, the banter between C-3PO and Han Solo worked for me. It was funny. It seemed to work. This one seems forced for me. I don't know. I love.
It's a good pun, by the way. It's a good pun. No, it was a good pun. You said it was very forced.
I didn't do that on purpose either. Mickey's Magic. Meg
hey, Meg.
Meg says, for a Friends episode, it would be the one where Anakin turns into a toasted marshmallow. And Bob.
Hey, Bob.
What's up, One Stop Mouse? Good to see you too, pal.
I would say with this first act that for me, it just sort of wraps everything from the Attack of the Clones. It wraps that up and moves on. So obviously for me, I think the most important part of this act is the confrontation with Count Dooku. And more specifically, which I'll get to, is Palpatine. Now, Palpatine is kidnapped by Count Dooku and Grievous. And he's like, what I really love is like he's sitting in this chair and he turns around like he's like the Emperor in like Revenge of the Sith. Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And it's when Anakin gets the upper hand, Obi-Wan is taken out by Dooku, he's gone, and it's literally Anakin and Dooku. Anakin gets the upper hand, Dooku's down on both knees, and this is where I think is a really key part, especially in this act, is where Palpatine, is enticing Anakin. He's like, I'm glad Meg is here because she does a great "do it" impression. And he goes, "This is not the Jedi way. This is not. We should not be keeping him alive." And that was kind of really important. He's too dangerous to be kept alive.
Well, right. Actually, the Jedi way is to keep them alive. They don't kill unless they have to, especially when they have the upper hand. And Joy S, by the way, welcome in, Joy. Good to see you. And Ryan McDowell, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you. Clone Wars kind of comes in between Revenge of the Sith, for sure. Here's the thing. When he gets the upper hand, and this is why it's important that everybody remembers this, because this line's going to come up a little bit later in the movie. And Kyle, I want you to touch on this. When he does get the upper hand and he's got the two swords at Dooku's neck like this, the Emperor says, kill him. It just literally says it just like that. Kill him.
Kill him now.
And he's like, and he looks at him and you can see the confrontation in his eyes. And he goes, it's not the Jedi way. And he looks at him and says, he's too powerful to be kept alive. That's an important line for later in this movie. Absolutely. Or he's too dangerous to be kept alive. That's the exact words. He's too dangerous to be kept alive. And even though he's got him on his knees and he's won, he does it anyway, and he takes his head off. That's your first big step in this movie. Big step for me.
Character-wise, yeah.
Character-wise, for development, that here it comes. Kyle, what do you think of that moment in the film for where we're headed?
Without jumping ahead too much, I see what you're getting at with why, other than, I think it's much deeper than it. That's the first big turn of his path to the dark side. There's been several others, the massacre of the Tusken Raiders in episode 2. Sure. But that one is you can see the conflict in him of the understanding that the Jedi way sometimes has some areas that don't necessarily seem to work the quickest and the most at least at the time, successful. And so, I think in his deepest soul, he truly believes, even though he knows it's not the Jedi way, maybe this saves countless people. It's kind of that question of, and I hate to get really dark here tonight, folks, but if you could go back in time and take out a certain individual in World War II as a child, would you? I mean, it's
hey, there was a great Doctor Who episode where they went back and the whole title was "Let's go kill this person," and they couldn't, and they literally just put him in the closet.
Yep,
they did.
Look, but here's the thing. Let me jump to this. The Sand People Tusken Raider massacre, to me, how I took it, and this is how I took it, as a moment of anger. Okay? He was angry. The thing with Count Dooku is he's not angry. He's calm. He's got the upper hand. He has that moment to stop and think, and he does stop and think, but he does it anyway. That's why, to me, it's a bigger turning moment than the anger. Look, we all get angry and we, oh my God, and we take that step back. Yeah. By then, it's too late for him. In this moment, he has time to think about it. He has that choice to be made, and he does think about the choice rationally, but still does it. That's why, to me, it was the bigger turn for me. That
I love the fact that the detail in which, Anakin's got the blue lightsaber and the red lightsaber, symbolizing light and darkness.
Absolutely.
And you can show that, he's leaning towards using that darker red color that we all know that symbolizes the Sith.
It's that fine line between the two. Yeah.
I also love Christopher Lee's stunt double, because we all know at his wonderful age of, I think it was in his late 80s, 90s.
For sure.
He moves very well for an 80-year-old.
I know.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's amazing.
Doing the double barrel flip off the banister.
Oh my gosh. Phenomenal. Well, I'm thinking that's CGI, but I could be wrong.
Speaking of CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally the first scene, right, where they fly into that huge battle, the space battle, just leaps and bounds for me better than what we already saw in the prequels. It reminded me a lot of Return of the Jedi, that final scene with all the ships everywhere, huge battles. It felt sort of, yes, obviously it's space and sci-fi and Jedi and all that kind of stuff, but it did feel a little bit more realistic and less sort of CGI heavy. Yeah. It was just done better, I think.
I really enjoyed that one because honestly, you hadn't got you had a space battle in episode 1 over Naboo, but it wasn't to the scale that it was over Coruscant. You got gunships from every size and shape and just things falling out of the sky, droids galore in the sky. I mean,
and apparently every helmet in the Naboo starfighters are not the same size, because conveniently they have a child-sized helmet in the cockpit of Anakin in episode 1 and not an adult size. I'm not going to go there.
I feel like that's a sticking point for you.
I'm going to get off tangent a lot on this.
George Priestley, welcome in. Well, look, so they save the Emperor. The ship goes down. We know that whole scene.
We do introduce ourselves to another character on the ship.
Go ahead.
Mr. General Grievous.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
that's right. He wasn't in Attack of the Clones, was he?
No. It really upsets me because when I remember going to see this film in 2006, and I came out of this movie, I'm like, this was so good, and I really look. This robot thing had 4 lightsabers. How cool! This was me as a kid, right? And I it's like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz.
He did.
And I remember watching it as a kid. I'm like, this character is so cool, and I rewatched it all these times, and I go back every time, and I'm like, this is just a coughing, oversized, whinging robot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the Clone Wars series, and I like him more in the series than I liked him in the micro series. I don't know if you saw the micro series.
I did.
That was pretty cool. And one of my favorite sort of things they did with that is when they did the micro series, Mace Windu did something to his heart and started to make him cough.
Yep.
And that carried on to Revenge of the Sith, which I thought was a great a great
Right.
sort of thing that they did.
But here's the thing.
creatively.
Let me take a step back because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Clone Wars animated series came after Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
This was okay. So it's one of those, we've learned our lesson. Let's go back a little bit and let's correct some things.
Yeah,
This
Darth
wasn't
Maul
during-
was
and I
dead,
want
but we're going
everybody-
to bring him back.
Well, I know, but I just want everybody to understand that this isn't real time at the same time as the movies.
No.
I'm talking about in real life. They produced these Clone War movies, the animated, after Revenge of the Sith. So it makes it a little bit easier to make things continuity better. They can go back and fix some things.
Right.
So I get what you're saying, but I just want to preface that because I think it's important that they know that.
Yeah.
Because you're right, they kind of made some things a little bit better when they went back and did the Clone Wars. So
General Kenobi. Sorry, I can't resist the
That was pretty
accents.
good, actually. I'm shocked.
So, Kyle, I want to ask you. So, once they get back, you're right. They meet General Grievous. He does get away, by the way, and we'll see him a little bit later on. They get back and they go and they see the Jedi Council, and again, there's conflict between the Jedi Council and Anakin and what he wants to do. And then Anakin goes and sees the Chancellor, Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
This is also where the manipulation really kicks in this movie. Palpatine uses fear first because fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to the dark side. So he starts at the very beginning. He starts with the fear factor, the fear of something happening to Padme. And, maybe if anything ever happened to her, there might be a way to bring her back. He kind of uses that manipulation when he's talking to him and he tells him a story. Do you remember the story, Kyle, he tells him?
The story of Lord Plagueis the Wise. Creepy looking dude. Well, we really didn't get concept art of him until actually the new sequel series started coming out and we started seeing, that he was, what are they called? Munes? Is that their species name? Am I getting that right?
Something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember sitting in the theater during this story and I felt like I was there in the cathedral or whatever they were sitting in there right alongside them, and how creepy the music in the background. It's one of the best scenes in Star Wars, but it's definitely top 5, top 3 in the prequels. It is.
Well, but he's also telling him a true story.
Yes. Yes.
He's telling him his story.
And at the time, as a child, I didn't realize that. But then after you've watched the movie, you've grown up and you've really grasped what's going on in this movie and how I think well crafted in these areas it was, you really see how devious this plot was and how devious Palpatine was. And you realize this is my story. This is who I took out. It's this powerful being that created life, essentially, or found the capability of doing it. I took him out. And that's when you realize, well, I know this guy's eventually going to become the Emperor, but holy crap, I didn't realize he was this powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really what's really neat about the scene, and it's why I wanted to bring it up, because his manipulation is as fantastic as it is. He's a great storyteller, and he really makes it. Look, I wanted to be a Sith when he told the story. It's like, oh, that's really cool. It was an interesting story that he tells. He tells it very, very well, and he makes it very enticing to Anakin. He's like, because he's starting to fear, because there's with all the conflict going on in the world or in the galaxy, he's worried about Padme.
Because he's having those visions, isn't he? He's
having the visions.
He's the same visions that
of her
his
dying.
mother had. Yeah, that his mother that he had of his mother.
Mm-hmm. Right. So he's worried, and Darth Sidious plays off of that. He knows it.
And I love the fact that this is a small scene, but he goes and sees Yoda before he sees Palpatine, and Yoda's like saying, you got to let go of these dreams. You got to let go of it all, because that's going. You don't want these things to happen. So Yoda's telling him to let go of it, and let it go, like Elsa would say. But Palpatine's like, no, I can help you. And have you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And can I just say, Ian McDermott, bravo!
His vocal range is amazing.
He
for his age.
is phenomenal. He was Ewan McGregor, great actor in the whole series, but Ian McDermott, for me, just killed it in this. This was his movie, I think. For me,
well,
this was his movie.
It's definitely his. He has certain parts in this movie for sure. I agree 100%. He's very good in that part. I have my moments with Ian McDermott where I think he overacts, and I'll get to a couple of those.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? That
Yep.
no,
you have lost.
I won't get into all that.
we will get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Meg says, I'm always so intrigued by the characters that use manipulation as a villain. Star Wars villains got that down to a T. They really do. I agree 100%. Kirsty Clark, welcome in. And Ed and Mindy, the Viapre Project, welcome in.
Mindy. But Meg also says, do you think Emperor Palpatine likes soda because he can do it?
Maybe.
I'm done.
See, I thought that would be a joke you would say.
No kidding.
That's one of my jokes. That was good, man. Good job. That's funny. So after that, so now he's really enticed by what the Emperor has said. He still makes it seem like the Sith are kind of bad, but he gives you some enticing things that the Sith can do that the Jedi can't do.
But also don't forget that Anakin, the whole reason why this was all set up was Palpatine asked Anakin to be his personal sort of guy on the council. Yeah. But the council were like, hell no, you're not going to be on the council. You're not the rank of you're on this council, but we do not rank you the rank of a master.
Of a master.
And Anakin's like, what? How could I be on the council and not be a master? And so there's that sort of breakdown between Anakin and the Jedi. And then Obi-Wan is like, hey, I know we didn't make you a master or anything, but I want you to go and spy on your friend Palpatine. And then he's like, oh, I don't really want to do that. And then he goes to Palpatine, and then Palpatine already knows because he's a genius and he's the all-powerful Sith Lord. So obviously there's sort of these trust issues on both sides that Anakin is getting. It's more of that conflict that he's always been going through, and his mind is, and he's worried about the Jedi, he's worried about Palpatine, he's worried about his wife, he's worried about whether R2 has got enough oil to keep going and whatever. He's got a lot of stuff going.
Yeah, he's probably not sleeping well.
He's not sleeping well. He's got his hand cut off. I mean, there's a lot of things. He's a troubled young man, right?
England, Portugal, welcome in. Good to see you.
He doesn't know when he's going to get a new haircut because his hair's long. Like there's a lot of things he's conflicted by, and I just love that scene with. For me, that scene with Palpatine in that opera theater is just it's fantastic. Just the way in which. And that's what's great about a villain is that you don't need to show his power. He can just do it through words and manipulation.
George Lucas gets a lot of flack for some of the things that happen in the prequels, but what you can never take away from him is that scene in the cathedral between Anakin and Palpatine. It was beautifully crafted. And you brought up something that I want to touch on too.
Not Jar Jar.
Hi, Drew. Let me say hi to Drew Myers real fast. Drew Myers, welcome in. Thanks for being here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What I love about the scene that follows that eventually is the conversation you brought up, not being on the council. And I felt that for Anakin. I was like, that makes no sense. If you're not going to let me be on the council, don't even let me be in here. That's just a slap in the face. But what I loved even more was the conversation that follows with him and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan, I go back and forth some days, but I'm pretty sure I always land on him as my favorite Star Wars character. And I say that even without Ewan McGregor being in the role. I love, our episode 4 and 5 version, and 6 for that matter, of Obi-Wan Kenobi and just the lore that was around him. But Obi-Wan gets sometimes misunderstood as, gung-ho for the Jedi Council, and I will do exactly what they tell me to do. But you kind of learn...
The poster boy.
He's the poster boy, but he still understands that it's not perfect, and the way you tell that is by that conversation, the last thing they say to each other in that hallway. Anakin looks at Obi-Wan and says, why are you asking this of me? Knowing the type of relationship, the brother relationship they have at this point, and he can't even look at him, and he says, the council is asking this of you because even he knows they're wrong.
There's something up, yeah.
And
are they wrong? But are they wrong?
They're wrong in their approach to how they did it. But
approach the ends don't always justify the means. I get what you're saying, but here's the Fernanda Rebello. Welcome in, by the way. No, nobody's perfect. Even Obi-Wan makes mistakes. I mean, he admits that anyway. He made mistakes when it came to Anakin and his training of him. and probably his over-trust in a lot of ways of Anakin. I don't think Anakin was ready for for all of it just yet. He wasn't there yet, in my opinion. That's how I see it. And I think the Emperor knew that. He knew that he wasn't strong up here just yet to the point that he could manipulate him. You could never see the Emperor manipulate somebody like Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan or somebody. He could never do that to them. They'd see right through that.
If Liam Neeson was still alive in these movies, oh my God.
I know. So at this point, let's jump ahead a little bit because I know we're coming up on 6:30 here. I want to make sure we get a lot in. What's up, Avery? Welcome in, Avery.
Hey, Avery.
What's going on, Avery?
So you're right. They want him to spy. He doesn't want to spy ultimately because he's kind of befriended the Chancellor at this point, kind of. But it's only because he doesn't understand. His ignorance. He's ignorant to the fact that he doesn't know that this guy is really the evil of all evil in the Star Wars, world.
Yep.
How do I word this next part? So Obi-Wan goes off. The part where Obi-Wan goes off to the other planet where General Grievous is. Grievous. I'll let you guys touch on this part. I don't know if this part's even. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of General Grievous at all.
So personally, in my opinion, the reason why they did this was Anakin. Anakin lost his father figure, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan was always considered like his brother and the person, like the voice of reason to Anakin, and he was his closest sort of person to Anakin. And I think when Palpatine was like, hey, you should go on this mission, the council like, oh no, you're not doing that. We're going to send, our most reliable postable Jedi. Obi-Wan's going to do it. Palpatine knew that they were going to select Obi-Wan. So they can split both Anakin and Obi-Wan, so Anakin is more vulnerable, in which Palpatine can go do that.
Smart.
So Obi-Wan goes on this quest. He goes and fights Grievous in this Utapau system, and they have I think they have a fun sort of fight. It's like a movie fight. And it's all fine and it's all good. But the main sort of thing I feel I get out of Obi-Wan being on this planet is what happens with him and Commander Cody later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I see where you're coming from on it. Feels like it's filler. But what we get out of it, I really love. I've said this all along. This is why I love Attack of the Clones. All you need to take is two sides across the field and run them at each other, and then I'm happy. I'm good. Just give me like a battle, and that's it.
I get it. Yes, with that scene.
Yes.
With the scene between General Grievous and, by the way, welcome in Rob Fuzz.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Right, with General Grievous and Obi-Wan, yes, you have that conflict between the two of them. Absolutely. But you're right. I think Dan makes a good point. And Kyle, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
I think it's only because they wanted to separate the two to make Anakin even more vulnerable.
Yeah. I mean, that's the mechanism for why the scene happens. Does it feel a little bit of a filler? Yes. But I can't think of a better way at the moment, at least, maybe if I sat down and just kind of concentrate on it to accomplish that feat. Because I think it fits the storyline. I mean,
It does.
General Grievous, he's the leader at this point because Count Dooku, his head's over here, his body's over here. So, he's not a problem anymore.
Right.
So they've got to go take this person out. And why not send your best Jedi out there? So it makes sense.
And don't forget, Palpatine is using Grievous. Like Grievous, Grievous is so clueless. He's like, right, Grievous, you got to send all the Separatists to this molten lava planet. So we know that they're going to die. Here. Right? There's nothing fishy here. We're going to send the leaders of the most powerful droid armies to this volcanic planet. And Grievous is like, yeah, I'll go do that. And then Grievous obviously gets killed. And then all these other important separatist leaders are now pretty much sitting ducks with no droids, no nothing on this planet for what happens a little later.
A little bit later, for sure. Super Fluffy Yeti, probably the best name in YouTube. Welcome in. Good to see you.
Fluffy Yeti.
Mr. Fulton Moraz is here as well. Good to see you and Kay Atwood.
Hey, Kay.
Okay, so Obi-Wan's off doing his thing. Anakin is still there with the Jedi Council, with the Chancellor. At this point, if I'm not mistaken, please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, it's been a little while. The Jedi Council realize who he is at this point.
But don't forget, the most powerful Jedi is off planet as well. Yoda's off. Yoda's off.
Oh,
planet.
right. Yeah, right. What am I thinking? Right. Absolutely.
So Yoda has gone to hang out with Chewbacca.
Right.
Which is a cool cameo. I like it.
Kashyyyk.
For
sure. Absolutely. So your two most powerful Jedis, in my opinion.
Me too.
Obi-Wan.
I will take exception to that. I think Mace Windu is still the second most powerful.
Okay. I guess at that point he is. I guess you're right.
Right.
But number 1 and number 3 are gone. I'll put it to you that way. Number 2 is still there. So they finally realize, you know what? We got to go get him. We got to arrest him. He is definitely. He's Darth Sidious. He's the Sith Lord. We're going to get him.
Which Anakin tells them about. Which he finds
right.
out.
Yeah, which he finds out because he tells him. He literally tells Anakin who he is. He's got him now.
He might as well have like a sign saying, "Hi, Sith Lord here."
Yeah, basically. I mean, he kind of, in a lot of ways, he does. So when he goes back and tells them, he's expecting them to go, and they're going to go get him. And Anakin wants to go. He's like, "Okay, I'm going with you." And Mace Windu's like, "No, you're not going.
No, you're not.
We'll handle this. Thank you very
much.
Go
to your room." He's pretty much, he's been a father saying, "Go to your room."
Send him to his room too. Like, I mean, he has to sit there and brood and feel the dark side chanting in the background. I mean, how creepy is that?
He had a bad school parents' evening in the council, and now he's told by the senior father figure, "Go to your room."
But the funny part about it is, it's the right move.
It is.
If I'm Mace Windu, I don't want him there because they know that he's being manipulated. The Jedi are they're intelligent people. And they're ultimately, I think Mace Windu's trying to save him. I think he thinks he's saving him by not sending him there so that he's not part of this conflict up here and then the real conflict that's about to come. He's like, you stay behind. We'll handle this. And he kind of gets frank with them. We got it. Step down. And off they go. And Kyle, that's where I want you to touch on this. When they leave, you're right. This is where the battle inside for Anakin really starts to take over. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, the chanting that you hear in that almost, may I just take a word that we use, satanic chanting that you hear in the background while he's sitting there looking out over the Coruscant sunset. If you notice too, I think I'm right on this. Most sunsets that we see here on Earth, they're kind of a mixture of yellow, orange, and a little bit of red as well, but it's more of a warm, inviting kind of red or anything like that. I think the sunset in that case was becoming more and more red as the scene progresses. It cut back from Padme to him. And then eventually it's just like this sliver of red that comes across his eyes. And I don't think that's obviously the moment he turns to the dark side officially, but it's the moment that he finally made a decision solely on the dark side to make a decision that would propel him into that. Right. And I didn't like this scene as much when I was a kid, but as an adult, I appreciate it so much more. Just the no words are spoken, and the fact that we can argue about Natalie Portman's commitment and acting sometimes in these movies, but when she just starts bawling there now as an adult, it almost makes you wonder how in tune is she with the Force. If she can just sit there and feel Anakin just slipping into this moment of darkness and making the worst decision that he could ever make in his life is to go and be a part of what was supposed to be an
arrest.
An arrest. Yes.
Yeah. It's an arrest. Dad Builds, welcome in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. And that's the other thing we didn't touch on. I'm only going to touch on it very, very quickly. The other issue that we're having is there's a slither of jealousy that is starting to build between Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme. Because Anakin's around, Obi-Wan's around Padme a little bit more. Him and her are on the same page with a lot of things, but Anakin's not. And now here's a little bit of jealousy that's coming in there. Like when he comes back the one time and she's talking to her and she goes, well, Obi-Wan was here. And he's like, why was he here? You can see the jealousy. You can hear it in his tone. There's a little bit of jealousy between him and his best buddy too, when it comes to her. But you're right. Going back to the part with the sunset, for me, it's the fear of the unknown of what they think is going to happen with the Emperor is why I think he goes anyway, because he's got to make sure the Emperor doesn't die.
Yep.
Because if he
he's
dies,
promised him, yeah.
Right. That's why I think he goes back, because he's like, man, if this goes sideways, they don't say it, but this is my opinion. If that goes sideways, it's 3 against 1, because he doesn't know how powerful he is yet. They're going to take him out, and then I can't save her. That's how I take that scene, in my opinion. That's why he's going back.
So let me ask, maybe this is jumping ahead a little bit. Let me ask the question. Was Palpatine sandbagging against the 3 Jedi that came to arrest him? Was he just pretending to be incapacitated, or was he actually incapacitated?
No.
Remember, he's the master manipulator.
Well, let's get to that scene, because this is
bad.
I don't even know how to word it. What were you going to say?
Bad.
Well, bad, but good to me, and I'll tell you why. So Obi-Wan, Kit Fisto, and I can't remember who it was. Two other Jedis are there to arrest him. So they walk into the chambers there, and Darth Sidious is sitting at his desk, and they come in and they say, "Hey, we're here to arrest you," and it gets very snarky. It's Samuel L. Jackson. How could it not be? So he stands up and he's like, you're not taking me. And then they ensue with a lightsaber battle, 4 against 1 now.
That's right. It was 4. Yeah.
It was 3. It was
2 schmoes. It was 2 schmoes, Kit Fisto and Mace Windu.
So 4 against 1. He takes out the first 2 very quickly, talking about Darth Sidious. Boom, boom. Now it's 2 against 1. Kit Fisto gets a couple in. He takes out Kit Fisto.
My man, Kit Fisto.
Yeah, I like him too. And then here's where, to me, it's Samuel L. Jackson and Ian McDiarmid trying to show some sort of battling with lightsabers. It's 2 old guys, to be honest with you, in real life. They probably should have used stunt doubles for this, because I think it could have been a very good fight lightsaber scene.
This can I rant? Can I rant for 2 minutes?
Yes.
So this is how right I compare this to reality. You're in the supermarket.
Oh, no.
You see a nice, gentle old man. He's walking through the supermarket, and he's got the last carton of milk. You're like, oh, I need my milk for my morning. You take the milk out of his cart, and he's got his walking stick, and he goes, and I'm like, seriously? These are 4 Jedi who have fought in all these incredible wars, and they are the most powerful beings on Earth, right? And I get he's the Sith master, he's the most powerful Sith. I get it. But don't forget, you got the second most powerful Jedi and 4 other pretty powerful Jedi. Yes, they're gonna die, but poking 2 of them, seriously? And then 2 things with the swords kill Kit Fisto, and then what's even worse is when they do get the stunt double and put CGI Ian McDiarmid head on him, and he starts doing backflips all over the set like he's Yoda, that he's 2 feet tall, and then you still see him with a close up going, ugh. I'm just like, this is bad. This is really, really bad. And he's like, and I'm just, I can't. I get that he's all powerful. I get that he's maybe not the most powerful sword wielder, whatever. But but they should have, because if you watch the Clone Wars thing when he took out Maul and Savage or President,
but Dan, but that's not. Let me say this. To me, that's unfair.
Yeah, again, I think I know where you're going with this.
After the fact, they've learned their lesson.
I know. I just don't like the scene.
I get it, but it's after the fact. They've learned their lesson. It's called editing, and they didn't do a very good job.
They didn't do a very good job.
No, I agree. Kyle, I want you here. You asked me earlier, was this a manipulation? Here's my opinion. I really think Mace Windu beats him. I don't think he sandbags. You don't think so?
I think the man orchestrated a coup that took 80 years or something like that from the time.
So he purposely let him maul his face.
I would not put it past him.
I don't think so.
And based on what we know of what he did to put into place for all the way up to episode 9, if he can put that into place, you don't think it's within his capability and reason to think it's worth me taking my face being mauled?
No.
To turn this guy to the dark side?
I don't. I think he really banked on the fear of Anakin, because when he's laying there, he's like, and this is the scene I was talking about. We went back to the beginning. Mace Windu gets the upper hand, and he's got him beat. And Anakin's like, you can't kill him. I need him alive. I need him alive. And the Emperor's down. No, I'm harmless. I'm harmless. Don't hurt me. Look, he's still very powerful, but he's banking on Anakin and the fear. And then here it comes. He says, don't kill him. I need him alive. And what does Mace Windu say? He's too dangerous to be kept alive. The exact same line that the Emperor said as the bad guy, the good guy said it. And then Mace goes to take him out. He was going to kill. I'm telling you, I think he had him beat.
I disagree.
Okay.
But I will say this. Can we just go ahead and point out the obvious? In every Star Wars movie, someone loses a hand, and that was Mace Windu. Mm-hmm. That hand goes flying off into the distance way before he even goes off in there. Like, is there a Star Wars movie where someone doesn't lose a hand? Like, I feel pretty confident that that's happened.
The first one. I don't think anybody did in A New Hope.
No, Dr. What's his doctor? The guys in the bar in the canteen.
Yeah, the guy.
Oh, that's right, he did. Yeah, in Mos Eisley. Yep, you're right. Okay.
Anyway, that's just.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. So anyway, Kyle, you were saying.
Well, I really do think that when you look at the body of work that is Emperor Palpatine, taking everything into account. This was all planned, every bit of it from the very beginning. And I think, well, personally, because you and I have had some, conversations before about, some misgivings you have with the sequel series. And I think some of the issues you have is you don't give Palpatine enough credit to know that he is this manipulative, he is this powerful, to know that he could pull stuff like this off. And he's willing to even scar himself to accomplish his ultimate goal of true, complete power.
Okay. I think he thought he was going to beat Mace Windu. I think he didn't take him. I think he took him too lightly, personally.
It's possible.
And I think that Anakin ultimately saves him, because when Mace Windu goes to kill him, Anakin takes off Mace Windu's arm, and then the Emperor, who I still think was powerful, he was just beat. He, in my opinion, kills Mace Windu. And now the turn has happened. At this point, it's over. But this is the part for me, and Kyle and Dan, I want your opinion on this. This is where, to me, it was just too fast.
Yep.
After Mace Windu's dead, he gets down on the knee, and he's like, sir, I'll support you and do whatever you want me to do. I'm like, that fast, dude?
He goes from killing Mace Windu to dedicating himself to this Lord of all darkness, whatever, and then he goes and kills children in the Jedi Temple. I mean,
well, we're gonna get to that, because I think we're really getting into the best parts of the movie, and to me, some of the disturbing parts of the movie. For me,
I got a PG-13 rating.
Right.
Execute order.
Yeah.
66.
So, well, it's not 626, is it?
66.
Execute order Stitch. Sorry.
Right, 66. So he executes what's called Order 66, which nobody knew about, but it was something that the Emperor had embedded in the clones. They knew what it was, but it had to be something that was executed, or whatever you want to call it, implemented into their head, and then he presses the button basically, and this is when they start to take out the Jedi.
This brings very quickly to one of the funniest scenes in the film. I know you're probably like, damn, what are you talking about? So on where the planet that you probably know where I'm going with this. Obi-Wan is on this planet, right? He's just killed Grievous, yeah? And during the fight, he loses his lightsaber and Commander Cody picks it up. And he's like, all right, I'm going to hold it on for you. Like, we're buds, we're like best friends. We are the best of friends. And then he meets up with Obi-Wan Kenobi and continuing the battle. He's like, hey, sir, here's your lightsaber, the most powerful weapon in the universe, blah, 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 except for the Death Star, which hasn't been created yet. Here's your weapon. And he goes, all right, let's go. And then he goes, execute Order 66. And then I'm just like, Cody must be like, if that came like, I just gave him back his weapon. Could you just like told me like 2 seconds earlier and then I didn't have to give it back?
Right, it's true. But clones, they don't have feelings. Their job is period.
Disagree completely, sir. They do have feelings based off the Clone Wars.
Again, it's after the fact. It's after the fact and correcting mistakes. Yeah. But when this movie was made, their job was to just take orders and execute.
Dad Bill says, so in this sense, the Clone Wars were Winter Soldiers who were brainwashed and triggered by and were waiting for trigger words.
Yes, in a lot of ways they are. That's exactly what they are. I agree 100%. And the trigger word with them is 66. And when he gives that order, all you know what breaks loose. And this is the part of the movie for me. I am always one. For me, ambushes are disturbing to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're supposed to be. I don't like ambushes. I never have. They're so disturbing. I like two sides being equal and fighting it, and the best one wins. When you do an ambush, man, they're not ready. And man, are they not ready in this movie. They did not see this coming at all.
Except Yoda.
Well, that's why he's Yoda. Okay?
Make this
that's why he's the best of the best. That's why he's number one.
Yes.
This to me was the most disturbing part for me in any Star Wars movie is this entire ambush.
Yep.
They did it very well. And Kyle, I want your opinion next, and then Dan, you. I think this is one of the best parts for George Lucas to me. Mm-hmm. He really shows the look of shock on their faces, the surprise, the disappointment, the hurt in a lot of ways, whether it's Ki-Adi-Mundi or some of the other ones that you see that get killed. They just don't see it coming. And then the scene when Anakin walks into the room where all the little ones are, and he goes, Master Skywalker, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And he
ignites the lightsaber.
Can I just say, all young child British actors don't sound like that, by the way.
I got you.
I was hoping I was going to
Master Skywalker, with too many of them. What are we going to do?
Well, it's a disturbing scene because you understand what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. He's going to kill them. What are they? 6, 5, maybe 7, maybe at oldest. And it's a disturbing scene. Like I said, I hate ambushes. I always have.
Right.
In any movie, they're so hard to watch. But this one's done well. Kyle, what about you? What do you think of this whole third act start? Because this is just the start of the third act.
Another one of my top 5 moments in this movie. Maybe top 3. Just because the whole plan comes into fruition at this moment. I mean, obviously there are other parts of it that have to take place for him to be truly successful, meaning Palpatine. But this is the first thing he has to, because the Sith way is the rule of 2. There's only 2 of us, but there's not millions, but there's probably hundreds of Jedi across the galaxy. And you're not going to be able to take over a galaxy with hundreds of Jedi. And you have to find a way to subvert their numbers and be able to take them out, or most of them out, in one swoop. And boy, does he. You want to know the one that hits me the hardest? It's not the look of shock on Ki-Adi-Mundi, the debilitating, just like helplessness of, I think her name is Adi Gali on Fallujah. Mm-hmm. It's Plo Koon. He never saw it coming. He's just flying his little jet pilot. All of a sudden, pew, pew, he's gone. Yeah, that's it. I don't know why I love Plo Koon, but when that ship went down, he was my favorite Jedi besides Obi-Wan. And I was like, my world is over at this point.
He's probably listening to Spotify in his spaceship, having a nice day, and then it dead. Spotify not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
No ads. He paid the extra, so you didn't have to hear the ads. But one of the other ones that was really disturbing for me is when the general shows up, played by Jimmy Smits.
Bail Organa.
Yeah, Bail Organa. Right, when General Organa shows up, and he gets out of his ship for a minute, and they're like, "Hey, you can't come here. We're having some issues inside." They're not really telling him what's happening. And then the one young Jedi, he's probably 15, comes out and kills a couple of them, and then he gets shot right in front of him.
Quick aside, do you know who that is playing that Jedi?
Isn't that George Lucas' son?
That was George Lucas' son.
Oh, he's better than his father.
Shots fired.
But
that's what happened to him.
So you're right. And then they tried to kill Obi-Wan. They didn't do it. He gets away. They made the mistake of trying to kill Master Yoda, and that was highly unsuccessful.
and you know what? With Yoda escaping, we finally get to hear Yoda's theme in the prequels. And it's like the first sort of bit of Yoda that we really love from the original trilogy. He was like, "Goodbye, Chewbacca." And I'm just like, you finally have some emotion, some character to this wonderful character that we all loved. And he's not sitting in his chair. He's not backflipping and doing things that he shouldn't be doing. And he's just being all like proper Yoda that we all love. And we get to hear that amazing, I'm like, yes, finally.
and now that the Jedi are taken out, again, more manipulation by the Emperor. He goes into the Senate and basically takes over at this point.
Emergency powers.
Right. And if I'm not mistaken, this is after Anakin's done what needs to be done with the Jedi and everything's happening across the galaxy. Anakin now goes to Mustafar.
To get a tan. Sorry, to kill the Separatists.
Yes, and that's when the power has to go to Emperor Palpatine at that point. With the Separatists, if I'm not mistaken, they're still alive. He can't have power until they're dead, because now there's no other leaders, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Or am I reading that wrong?
No, they're the last ones.
You're right.
I
I
think.
think you're right.
Right. So he sends Anakin off to basically massacre all the Separatists because they're there without any backup.
Protection, no nothing.
Protection. And he does. He takes them out very quickly. And then that's when the emergency power goes to the Emperor. And now here we go. And he changes it to the Galactic Empire. And that's when we hear that for the first time. My
favorite line, and
Yep.
this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
You really like that line? I
love that line.
I hate it.
I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I will give Natalie Portman all the credit in the world for her delivery on that.
Oh, my God.
Well done. Just well done.
No. Oh, that's so funny. See, I hate that line. I hate it.
It's someone that's so passionate about caring for the people of her galaxy and her planet, obviously, but her galaxy, and understanding the true magnitude about what has happened.
I think for me, I think it's George Lucas throwing a political jab in at that time.
It is. The whole story of Star Wars is there's themes of our real world. And,
of course.
And I think personally, that's just so great, and there's so much meaning in that because I don't know, it really resonated with me when I heard her say that this is how liberty dies, with thunderous applause.
See, I guess I don't like the line. I think it was. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been delivered by Jar Jar.
Emergency powers.
Misa gotta make emergency powers. Whatever.
Are we sure he wasn't the mastermind behind all this? We still don't.
Don't even go there. That's another stream.
Darth Binks.
Look, we're coming up on 7:00. I don't want to run over too much here. So let's get to the final part of this act here. At this point, Obi-Wan goes to Mustafar. And so, actually, let me take that back. Padme goes to Mustafar because Anakin asked her to go there. She goes there. Obi-Wan sneaks on the ship because he wants to go too. Because now they have found out. Yoda and Obi-Wan go in and they look at kind of the tapes, the surveillance tapes, and they see they see that the guy that did this it's Anakin, and Obi-Wan is just he's crushed and
he doesn't show it really. It's like, I've seen holograms of killing. And I'm just like, dude, this is your best friend. You should be like weeping and upset. And he's just like, yeah, I've seen my best friend kill like children, and we killed everybody in the temple.
Yoda had more emotion when he felt the Order 66 being taken out, and he grabs his chest and drops his cane. I'm like, I expected a little bit of that from there.
I agree. So now they know that he has turned to the dark side. But I think Obi-Wan really has one last ditch effort. That's why I think he sneaks on there, because he's going to go and say, I'm going to try to talk to him one last time, see if we can get him to come back from this in some way, shape, or form. So this is where we have the Duel of Fates, I think, is even the name of the music.
Duel of Fates Part 2.
Right. But what I like about this is, at the same time, the Emperor thinks he's won. He's in his throne room, and in walks Master Yoda.
Which I say is the best entrance to any character in the whole of Star Wars. He walks in, and the two red guards are like, huh, and he just goes, huh, yep. Goodbye. And they go thrown against the wall. That's great.
So we're going to start there first, and we're going to flip back and forth, because that's what the movie does. And I think it's one of the better directing parts of the movie as well, the flip back and forth. So Yoda comes into the throne room, and Darth Sidious is there, and Darth is cocky and says, I've won. And Yoda's like, not yet, not if I have anything to say about it. And this is where Emperor Palpatine kind of gets the upper hand for a second there with him. I don't think Yoda realizes just how powerful he is, because he takes the lightning to Master Yoda.
That's my point about why he was sandbagging in the other scene.
Oh, see, but I don't think he was, because this time he knows how powerful Yoda is, so he didn't waste any time. See, I think he learned his lesson from his battle with Mace Windu, and just, I'm not even wasting time. Boom, I'm just going to hit him right now, because I got to take him out. That's how I see it. But Dan, what about you?
I've said this a billion bajillion times. This was meant to be, for me, the moment where we finally see Yoda get his lightsaber out for the first time and show us what he can do. That moment, for me, was ruined in Attack of the Clones with Count Dooku. That did not need to be there. It was horrible. It was a mess. We didn't need to do it. I just felt like if we saved all that time, right, and we finally get to that point where, we got Yoda, who has never shown us what he could do with a lightsaber, and he's going up for the first time against the all-time powerful Sith. For me, that would have been the most incredible moment, because that would have been so well built up. But we got shown that in Attack of the Clones against Count Dooku, and I thought it was one of the worst parts of the movie. Just my opinion. I know Carl will probably massively disagree with me.
The Emperor versus Yoda was one of the
Emperor versus no. Yoda versus Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones. I thought that ruined sort of the moment when Yoda gets his lightsaber out against Sidious in Revenge of the Sith.
I see your point. I really, and I understand it. I still disagree, but I really see where you're coming from on that. And I'm putting myself in your shoes as someone who's been waiting for this moment your entire life. And yeah, I think that would have been really cool to just see. This is the music crescendos then as he pulls open his cloak, and here out comes the lightsaber, and here we go. This is what you've all been. But I think too, it gets lost in the magnitude of what's going on in this moment, especially with the flip back between the two different lightsaber duels too. So while I hear you that maybe that would have played better for you personally, it gets lost, I think, in what else is going on right now, where in episode 2, it's just Yoda for the first time taking center stage, and I'm taking this guy down. There's a little bit of a personal, not guilt. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a personal tie to it for him, because this is his old Padawan in Count Dooku. So I see your point, but I still think they probably made the better choice.
Okay, so I understand both points. I'll say this: Attack of the Clones, Yoda, Dooku, I loved it. I thought it was really good. It doesn't, and I'll tell you why in a second. What I didn't like was the ending. I actually wanted one or the other to win there. Okay. Dooku runs off. It felt incomplete.
Yeah, it did.
I didn't like that. I was like, I wanted to see a winner. I like the fact that they used Yoda at some point. his fight against the Emperor is another level. We know he had Dooku beat, but can he beat the Emperor? See, to me, it's still just as satisfying because, okay, now you've got grade A competition.
Right.
And you take this guy out, and you're already on the ground. He's already hit you with the lightning. So he's already Emperor 1, Yoda nothing. Can you take him out with the lightsaber? To me, I love the Emperor versus Yoda scene and the music in the background, and then the fighting and them going up into the throne, into the oh my god!
Which Star Wars fan didn't want to see a fight scene in that Senate arena?
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Come
god!
on! Like as soon as we saw that in episode 1, we were like, just imagine a fight scene in that, and we got it.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, the two battles that are going on here, one's a battle for more broad stakes, and one's more personal stakes.
Very personal.
The broad stakes are Yoda and Palpatine, obviously, for obvious. It's literally the light versus the dark in this one, and in the one for Anakin and Obi-Wan, it's personal stakes. You know, Anakin has a miscued view of what he's personally fighting for, but Obi-Wan is fighting sadly to save the very person that's fighting against him, and he may have to kill him to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And that battle between, as much as I love the Yoda battle with Darth Sidious, which I thought was really, really good, they did a fantastic job with the battle with Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought it was really, really done well. And it was just long enough. It wasn't too long to the point where you're like, okay, get this over with. It was just long enough. And it wasn't too short either where you're like, wow, that was quick. They really did a good job of making it just long enough to make it very emotional, entertaining, exciting, and sad in a lot of ways.
Because this was the build-up. This was this was what was going to happen. This is what we've been waiting for 6 movies now. You know, this is what we've wanted to see. And there are things that I love about this fight scene. There are a few nitpicks that I don't like. I think it was way over choreographed. Whereas you look at something like Empire Strikes Back, Luke versus Vader, or even Return of the Jedi, Luke Vader, even Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Yes, it was choreographed, but I think I did felt more sort of. There was less sort of swirling. It was more just like, ready, I'm going to hit this guy. And the other thing I didn't like was Obi-Wan at the end saying, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground."
No,
which I think is a bit of a hypocritical line. Which, if you look back in Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan was not in the high ground position, and yet he still won against Darth Maul. And I think they could have used maybe a different line in that.
But see, I think it's a different take. I think Obi-Wan learned that that's where Darth Maul made his mistake.
True.
He because he had the high ground, thought, oh, I've got him beat, and underestimated. Obi-Wan is basically saying, I have the high ground. I saw somebody lose when they had the high ground. I'm not going to make that mistake.
Right.
True.
So that's how I take it. I get what you're saying. I think that's why he says the line is ultimately he's saying, don't try this with me. I did it and won. You're not going to beat me this way. I'm ready for you.
The reason I love this line is because I have stood over people thousands of times and stood, don't try it. I have the high ground. For that simple fact, that is why I love this line.
You were the guy who took the milk out of the carton from.
It was.
Well, look, if you have the high ground, if you're in an elevated position, normally you have the advantage for sure. Seen it so many times.
But I agree with you both. It's a very good, very, very good.
Could have done with a little less on the lava river, a little less of that, and I think that's what makes it perfect.
Anakin looked like a player select screen in a video game. He's like, select your character, and he's like hovering on a droid.
Right. Yeah. Okay, what makes a good point. Anakin was cocky, Obi-Wan wasn't. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think, because he even says it. He says, you underestimate my power. After he says, I have the high ground, he says, well, you underestimate my power. And actually, he's not underestimating your power. He understands it. That's why he's ready for it. And he takes him out. I mean, Obi-Wan hated to do it, but He had him beat. He could
Takes
have
out
went down
every
there.
appendage that was still left that was real. Like that, he's got a fake hand, and then he takes out both feet and the other arm, and he's just sitting there. I mean, how agonizing is it watching there? You know, obviously what happens to him, which was very gruesome, is catching a flame with the lava. It's so well done because you just slowly see it creep up to him, and you know what's going to happen, and it makes it almost worse when it actually happens, and you see the look on Obi-Wan's face. And I don't know, maybe you guys feel differently, but when Obi-Wan screams, or well, more mourns, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." I felt that.
Me too.
I was like,
me too.
Yes, this is what we needed to make this relationship real.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The one thing about the fire scene with the end, if he had caught fire, that fire would not have been burnt out until he was
marshmallow.
Exactly.
I mean, he kind of was.
That one. I mean, I understand.
Yeah.
I think he went just a little farther than he needed to go with it. Seeing the appendages gone would have been enough. Putting him on fire was.
I do like
fire
this.
would not have burned out. They would have just kept going.
I do like that small scenes, like Obi-Wan picking up Anakin's lightsaber, you know, being a precursor to what when he gives it to Luke. I do like, you know, all the sort of the wrapping up of this film. I think, you know, and I just want to move on very. I know we're, you know, time is short for all of us.
Guys. I know we're hi, Saria. Welcome.
We get the birth of Luke and Leia, and Padme is dying from unknown causes. But what I really loved about this was that not only are we getting the birth of Luke and Leia, but we're getting essentially the birth of Darth Vader, and it's kind of interchanging. And I think that editing was fantastic, really fantastic.
Yeah, and you're right, and that's what we get. You show the birth of Luke and Leia, and then the birth of the greatest villain probably in cinematic history. And then
Is he though?
I think he is.
I think he's a good guy.
I mean, he's still a villain. Just because you're a good guy at the end doesn't make you not a villain.
He's a villain.
I like to think of myself as a good guy, but I know I'm a villain to some people. Ask my wife.
He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He has redemption, but he is a bad guy to start.
Let me just say about this. I remember seeing the trailer. Here's the beauty. My birthday is May 27th, and that's when Revenge of the Sith came out. Another connection to why this is my favorite Star Wars movie, because it was on my birthday that I got to see, as you call it, the birth of Darth Vader. And I have a little prop here, because when I saw this happen on the trailer, rise.
Oh my god, that's amazing! You've had that
down here the entire
whole screen. You waited an hour and 12 minutes just so you could do that.
Well,
I saw that. I was like, yes, this is my movie.
Well, when he rises up and everything, it's fine. But when he comes out of there, it's just not a good line. And we're going to finish up real fast here. When he comes out and says, "Where's Padme?" And it's like
she did.
No. It's like somebody you just kill off.
I'm like James Earl Jones is back. Like, we get some really great dialogue which we haven't had in 3 episodes, because we've had, you know, silly Hayden Christensen. No offense, but yeah, we get James Earl Jones, and then he goes and says which kind of, this is one of the faults with George Lucas's writing. I feel like he's not very good at expressing emotion. We have to be told what the emotion of those characters are.
Exactly.
And I think, you know, he could have just blown up the room and not said anything.
Right.
And right, exactly. I agree. So, and then the movie ends with Leia going off with Bail Organa and Luke coming to Tatooine with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru.
And Obi-Wan's looking after them.
And 2 twin sons, and it starts all over again.
Yeah. There we go.
And then
so there you go, folks. That is our review of Revenge of the Sith. So now we're going to go around the horn really, really fast. We're going to give our letter grade. And please, in the chat, everybody in the chat, we want your letter grade. We do an A+ is the best of the best of the best, must see, multiple C, all the way down to an F. And I have given out an F on this show. I have given out an F on this show before. George of the Jungle got an F.
Okay. All right. I can't argue.
So, okay. So, Kyle, we're going to start with you real quick. Your review. Oh, Kyle, favorite scene, favorite character, and then your letter grade.
Favorite scene, favorite character, and letter grade. Favorite character would definitely be Obi-Wan in this one. Favorite scene, I think I go back to that conversation of Obi-Wan and Anakin in the hallway, and the council is asking you. I think that there's so much going on in that conversation that you don't catch the first time unless you're a real big Star Wars fan.
Right.
I was at the time, but I still didn't catch it. So that's probably my favorite scene. I don't want to be a fanboy because I've made it very clear this is my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm trying to think of a reason to give it not an A+, but I'm going to have to give it an A+, because
that's fine.
The deficiencies that are here, and I admit are erased by everything else that happens from it. I can always find something to make what I want to knock it for leveled out. So I will say A+.
That's great. Brian, NASCAR fan, welcome in. Good to see you. All right, Dan, favorite character, favorite scene, and then your letter grade, buddy.
Favorite character for me is Palpatine. Great character. Ian McDermott, amazing performance. Favorite scene is the scene with Palpatine and Anakin at the opera. I think it's just one of the best scenes in Star Wars in general. And for me, the grade, this film for me told a much more compelling storyline than a lot of the other films that came before it. I think there was a lot of good character development, and I enjoy this film, but there are flaws. The dialogue can still feel very wooden. The acting can still be very poor. And the CGI sometimes doesn't work for me. But overall, I really enjoy this film. I'm going to give it a B.
Okay, perfect. For me, favorite character, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for sure. I think he's fantastic in this. Favorite scene for me is the Darth Sidious Master Yoda battle. I really enjoy that. Been waiting for that for the longest time. For me, I enjoy this film. I think it's the best of the prequels. Unfortunately, for me, that's not saying much. It's just not. I mean, I was alive in 1977 when the original Star Wars came out. I was there in 77, 80, and 83. So I was there as a kid. I lived it. I saw it. And Alex says he's seen these movies 350 times. Alex, I probably have you beat. I can promise you that. I've seen these movies over and over and over again. This movie as well, it's good. It's the best of the prequels. It has good dialogue at times. It has terrible dialogue at times. The acting does seem forced at times. I still think Hayden Christensen was a bad cast. I'm sorry.
Oh, we don't have time for this, but that's you stick that on me at the end. Oh, yeah, no. We'll have to do another show where I debate
we will.
Acting. Look, you can have a bad script, bad screenplay, and acting can still pull it through. That's a bad combination here. He's okay as an actor, but he's not the guy to save this script for him. Certain scenes are good. There's a lot of inconsistencies in a lot of ways. I give it a C+. Okay. I can't give it more than a C+.
I'm glad. I was about to say, if I hear anything less than a K here, I'm going to be upset.
So that's my letter grade. I give it a C+. I am very hard on movies, okay? I'm a movie prude. I am. I'm sorry. I break movies down, and it's very hard to get an A+ out of me, period. I don't even think I've given a B yet. Or if I did, I don't know. It's been very difficult.
Yeah, a few. But
I don't know. Dan, real fast, go in the chat. Tell me what everybody says in the chat, and then we will wrap up.
So my captain Akron gives it a B-. All the Star Wars films are A+B films, says Alex Canet. Solid B for Soraya. Jonathan Chong gives it a B. K-Hour gives it an A-. I got my Vader back. And that's what we have so far.
Alex, you went 350 times to the theater to see it. No, that good for you then. If that's the case, okay, fine, you got me beat.
And I also just want to say that if you want a even more in-depth review of this film, you can go back last year onto, I think it's my channel. We did our Star Wars Sundays, and we went for a good 2-ish hours on this film, and where we went into real good detail. So please, guys, go check that out. And we love doing these, and it's like our Disney book club, but it's for movies. And we just really enjoy doing these reviews.
We do. We certainly do.
Speaking of which.
So, yes, absolutely. Kyle, while Dan is getting ready to do the poll, first off, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me.
Oh, it's been our pleasure. What's coming up with Eye to Eye?
Well, right now I'm doing Mandalorian reviews every Friday.
Nice.
Usually get those out in the afternoon. So some really, really good. Just wow, that series is just it has again, like all Star Wars things, it has some moments that don't serve it so well, but it's overall a great series. So if you want to check those out, we have that going. Obviously, trivia nights every Thursday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. We have a theme. We have 20 questions, 10 are a theme, and the other 10 are random. Nice. Can't reveal the theme just yet because our Patreon folks get that exclusively early on. So I got to honor their patronage there. But I have a couple of things that I'm working on as side projects, and just to maybe tease a little bit, you might want to just be paying attention to our channel if you haven't. Might be announced some of those things.
Nice.
Go subscribe to Eye to Eye, please.
I agree 100%. Kyle and Jessica do a great job over there. Their trivia on Thursdays is so much fun. If you're looking for something to do on Thursday, 7:15 p.m., go check them out. They're fantastic. Kyle, we appreciate you being here, pal, for sure.
Thank you, guys. And I only wanted to punch you guys about 5 times. It's okay.
Hey, we just said go subscribe to your channel. Come on.
I know, but you said a few things. That Hayden Christensen comment nearly sent me over the edge. But I appreciate that.
All right, Dan, do the pool, my man. Here we go.
Here we go. So next week on my channel. So next week on my channel. So make sure you're subscribed. What are we going? We haven't picked a Pixar film yet, and we haven't picked a Muppet film yet.
What?
Mods, if one of our mods could please throw the link to Kyle and Jessica's channel in the chat, please, I'd appreciate it. Some people are asking. Please go check them out.
Alrighty.
If this is not Coco, that's a film right there.
You know what, Walt? I am really happy. Because we are going to the Pixar universe finally.
Oh, really?
And we are watching we're sticking with droids. We're watching WALL-E.
Oh, that's a good one.
We are watching WALL-E. I am so excited. Guys, this week, your homework for this week, go watch WALL-E. We're going to review it next week on my channel.
Hi, Christy.
Dude, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Nice. That's going to be awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's wrap up really fast. Dan, what's coming up with you?
Okay, so this week I released a video of it was like my Disney library, and one of the big things in that video was I showed Walt Disney's letter to that he wrote to his wife about the creation of Walt Disney of Mickey Mouse. So guys, go watch it. It's my full Disney book library collection. I did Disney Fiasco yesterday, episode 113, where we talked about countries in the world showcase that we want to see. And then obviously this Saturday coming up, Disney Fiasco episode 114, 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously back on Sunday for Disney movie review for WALL-E at 6 p.m.
Awesome. Everybody in the chat, thank you all for being here tonight. It's been fantastic. For us, Tuesday is Disanity. We'll be back Tuesday night. I did just post a brand new video this week of all the happenings at Walt Disney World for the Christmas holiday. Please go check that out. I really enjoyed making that video. I hope you guys like it for sure. Next weekend, we will be back at the parks. We have an Epcot day for sure. Won't break it just yet which day that's going to be, but we'll be live from Epcot for sure. We're going to have a lot of fun. Got a lot of things coming up. I got another video coming up of all the Christmas cavalcades that I've already edited. I just got to post it. Tons of stuff coming. But again, thank you to our special guest, Kyle, for being here, pal. We appreciate you. And thank you to my man, Dan, as usual, pal. And again, everybody in the chat, you have a choice of where you spend your time. You spent it with us. We definitely appreciate that. It means the world to us. And until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll talk to you all really soon. Bye, everybody. Have a great week. Bye.